All right, here's the simple problem. I don't like how tight you have to have these, and even when they're tight, they tend to slide around or end up on the bottom of your wrist. And when you got the wetsuit on, sometimes it can be worse, sometimes it can be better. But I want this to sit nicely on the side of my wrist, so when I'm swimming, this will actually be facing toward my face. I can pay attention to what I'm doing while diving, but I can quickly glance down at my wrist and get all my critical information for scuba diving. So let's go ahead and build something to fix this. And we're gonna go ahead and just quickly run through where we're at. And so go ahead, I'm just gonna cut my wrist. So obviously I've got a small taper here, back to here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and make a few more extrusions to clean up the part. Obviously wanna taper it down to the wristband. And then we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna add the features that I want the wristbands to go through. We'll talk about how to actually make those later. And obviously just a few other features to kind of clean things up. So ultimately we end up looking with a part that looks something like this, which is pretty simple. Ignore the green. And there we go. So that will sit on the inside of my wrist. And we will go ahead and try to make it. Let's go ahead and make the base tool. So we're gonna wanna have this obviously sit in a bit of a cup because we're gonna pour it in, but obviously we're not gonna be able to pour it in here. It's just gonna spill out the side. So we also need a lid, one to make the shape, and two, we gotta find a way to actually seal around this, which considering silicone, it's pretty thick. It's not gonna squeeze through the cracks. We put a little glue in there. And then we have our two slides. This will allow us to pull two parts out to allow us to detrap the part and get it out. So there's a baseline, and then here's a more developed tool. So we've got the two pieces on either side to pull the slide out with nice little wedges there so we can pop those out easily, as well as a wedge along this edge. An injection point for our silicone, and then these 8 holes here are going to allow the bubbles to come up and hopefully mostly push our way, you know, as this comes out and forms and fills up, we want the air to rise with it and not trap the bubbles, and then we'll be able to see it squirt out these 8 holes, and that's how we know it's going to be filled up. So our exploded view would look something like this. So here's our bottom part, here's our top part, and here's our 2 slides. Those are obviously not in alignment anymore, but those are the parts we're going to make, and they're going to print out and look something like this, which should show quite nicely what we're going for. All right, and the magic of TV. There's our part. Not bad. We'll go ahead and see if it fits here. All right, so here's our parts. They actually fit pretty snug, which is going to be a good thing. Not the best tool I've ever made, considering how lazy I was, but everything's a little tight, but we just needed to work one time to get a prototype part here. So I'm going to go ahead, do a little bit of sanding, a little bit of cutting with the razor, and we'll clean it up so this thing assembles nicely. So most of my tools I set up so gravity isn't an issue at all. It's just like pouring into a cup, but this one I didn't set up that way. So we're going to go ahead, put a little glue around the edges here, and I'll spare you the time consuming. Yes, might take a while, so I'm just going to go ahead and use video editing magic and put it together. Not bad. Totally forgot to put mold release in there. All right, let's check our setup. We got our vacuum pump, we got our mold, we've already put our mold release in, we got a little bit of pigment, we got a cup. You're going to want to fill the cup to not all the way up because it is going to boil up when we put it in the vacuum chamber. I got the amount I need from CAD, and then we're going to go ahead, draw this up, and inject it into our mold. So that always sounds good. Let's see what happens, and I think we've got an interruption with dogs. Timeout. All right. Oh, come on. Go ahead and let it bubbly. Come on, burst. No, I overfilled it. Damn it. God Ah. Get that bubble out. See that bubble working up? There it goes. Alright. And we go ahead and inject up. See how it's squirting out? It's alright if it leaks around the edges because we don't really care. We just don't want this to float. Alright. It's got a pretty short pot life of 23 minutes, so time for a beer. Alright, moment of truth. Obviously I poured too much here, but let's go ahead and see if we can open this bad boy up. Crap. Figured that would happen. There we go. Check this out, guys. Ta-da! There we go. A little bit of cleanup here. Look at that, guys. How about that? Upon further review, we got a bubble here and a bubble here. I could obviously modify the tool. There's our injection point, which we can just cut off. But these came out pretty good. Not the best, but pretty good for a couple hour project anyways. All right, now we gotta go test it, which is, well, it's Michigan, it's black, it's raining, and it's 43 degrees. So I think we're gonna need a better place to go test this. Let's switch it up real fast. Poof, we're back, right? Weird. Video editing. So how do we do? It's like a C-. I would change a bunch of the dimensions on this. This pulls up pretty hard. You know, obviously I wouldn't use silicone. I accidentally ripped them. And on top of ripping them, I probably would have made some more structure here. But for a couple-hour project, it ended up being all right. And it worked real well. It just isn't commercially ready yet. I would definitely make some updates. Is this a commercial product that I would develop like I have some of my other ones? No, the market's just too small. And you really have to get both a scuba diver who cares about this problem and wants to spend money on it versus just deals with strapping it to their hand really hard. So it's not probably worth a lot of money, but if somebody wanted to do it, go for it. There's also making it, I'm making it specific for this dive computer, but there's literally hundreds of dive computers. So it would be a good challenge to actually have to make this in a way that was something divers would like. But it worked well for me. So it was only a couple hours. Happy I did it. And yeah, I'll keep using it. So good for me, not great for the product. So if you like this video and you want to know how to make things out of 3D printing, silicone, or my other products, I fully commercial and sell patented things that I do. I'm starting a channel about it, and consider subscribing, and feel free to fire off some questions. So thanks for watching. Bye. Oh, and always, I'll throw in some fuck-ups at the end of the video. No! Ugh, God. Always a screw up there. Nice chamfers on the edge on this side here, so this makes it pretty, I don't know if that's in focus.